Good morning, myself Mrs. Madhumati, Assistant Professor, Department of MBA, SGBIT College. The subject is Consumer Behavior 20 MBA MM 305. This is a core marketing paper. So this is a recording of week 2. So in this week 2, we'll be focusing towards rights and responsibility of a consumer, because last time in the last week we discussed about consumerism, and I'll be telling what is consumerism in detailing in this week, and the rights and responsibility as a consumer in India possess, benefits of consumerism, research on consumer behavior and society. So these are the major 4 topics we'll be discussing in week 2. So what is the basic meaning of consumerism? Consumerism is a certain set of ideas that increase the consumption of goods and services. That is the mean, because people have a different idea or different thought about this consumerism. It majorly focuses towards the idea of increasing a consumption of goods and service purchased in the market. So it is always a desirable goal that a person well-being and happiness depends on the fundamentally on obtaining the consumer goods and material possession. In a very economical sense, we say that consumer is a social force designed to protect consumer interest in the marketplace by organizing consumer pressure on business. So consumerism is a law that protects the consumer against any unfair business trade practice or any business injustice. Um, to just detailingly understand about this concept evolved in 19th century. Some economists and sociologists nailed this concept called as conspicuous consumption. Conspicuous consumption is a book that talks about the theory of leisure class, and here they talk about the consumerism and how class of people, or how it is associated with the wealthy behavior in the social class. If we understand the impact of consumerism is very high. It's as a target of economical policy. It is very high that all organizations believe that increasing the consumption benefits the economy. So savings can be seen as a harmful for economy because it comes at the expense of immediate consumption spending. So this is about consumerism. The next we'll talk about responsibility and rights and responsibility of a customer. Customer is a person, who that utilize the goods and service. He or she, whoever. So this is an indispensable character in a monetary arrangement of a nation. It's very simple. It is indispensable character in the monetary arrangement of a nation. Without appeal of a consumer, manufacturer, a dearth of one or the key catalyst of product and a good and service. So the consumer also designed the part of order of profit circulation. So in India, if we take the realization of commodities or a service is for personal use or to earn a livelihood. That's it. So there are a few rights to talk about. We have a right of safety. The consumer has all rights to understand, to right to need each product, which can probably be a crisis to our growth, to be retailed after accepting the enter authentication as well as validation. That is right to safety, right to information. This means the right to be advised about the condition of the product, rate of the product, amplitude, efficacy, pureness, or price. So that protects the customer against any biased trade system. Right to heard is any consumer concern has to be heard. It will be given due attention in a very appropriate forum, and consumer also have the right to be served as a divergent forum rooted to consider the economic welfare. And then we have about right to redressal. Redressal is again the right to seek redressal against any unfair trade practice. So this prevent any sort of corruption as well as exploitation in the trade practice. So the consumer court is local state or national level will be incorporated with the help of this act. So the consumer can seek relief, remedy and immediate compensation if anything has happened injustice. Right to consumer educate. Consumer education is something that refers to the explicit education information that various conventional institutions, that is, it could be a college or schools. This can be done only by creating an awareness through the various campaigns. So these campaigns have to be conducted by the government and non-government organizations. Getting into the responsibility of a consumer in India, I have just one small screenshot I've given. It was this company, Pepsi, was told to pay rupees 27,000 for finding a small piece of plastic in the bottle. So it's a Karnataka Kalaburgi resident who got a compensation of rupees 27,000. This 55-old person who found a piece of plastic paper in a sealed 200 ml drink. So this customer made a case against the company, is talking about the practice, that is illegal trade practice. That is, they do not maintain the hygiene, and this fetched it's them. The case went on to the consumer court, and the compensation was filed against the company to be paid to the person. So 27,000 plus 15 rupees of whatever the drink was to be paid. This is some live examples, and there are many examples as such every day. To just start with the responsibility of a consumer, as we discussed what is the right that a consumer has, equally there is a responsibility also. The first one is critical awareness. It is very much responsibility of a customer to gather all the, all the information and facts available about a product or a service. So it should be okay. So we were discussing about the critical awareness, that is the responsibility to be more alert and to question more. It could be the question towards the price, quantity, quality of goods or services being used. And then comes with action, that is more towards the responsibility is towards an assertive that ensure that every customer will get a fair deal as a consumer. And if there is a passive way, then if a customer is always in a passive way, then it is easy for any organization to be exploited. Organization will exploit the customer to a greater extent. Organized, it could be on social responsibility that stands towards awareness of impacting the consumption on other citizens, especially the advantages of powerless group and the consumer based on needs and wants. And environmental awareness talks about it is major understanding of any consumer to understand what is the environmental consequences if in case by use of or using or any consumption of a goods. So this recognition of every individual has the responsibility of social well-being, that is an environmental well-being. Environmental well-being talks about the conservation of natural resources and protect them as the earth for future generation. So that becomes the thing. Solidity, it talks about any customer is easy to access the information available on every various alternatives available for the product and the service, and compare specifications can be easily done. Competition and fair practices yes to be done, and various feedbacks, studying about various feedbacks and review of the product, that is genuine review what they get is very much important to be identified. So these are the basic responsibility what a consumer will have. Next, coming with as I said, rights of consumers. So just a small touch of history, that this bill was introduced by US President John F. Kennedy in 1962. So as I said, the right of safety, the right to be informed, the right to choose, the right to be heard, and the right of service. So these are basically five rights what it happens. Yeah, just to start, right to be informed. I mean, let's start with the right of safety. This right to a consumer protect against the marketing of any commodity goods or services which are in the interest to harmful towards them. So you can recently see that most of the companies were promoting the white skin, face skin. So and recently a close up or Fair and Lovely changed the name to Fine and Glow. So they started to change the company name, and more emphasis was given for face skin, which was stopped after this practice. Right to be informed. Here, the customer has to be informed about the commodity that they purchase. This pertains to all. It could be towards quality, quantity, potency, purity, standard, price, or what, etc. Right to choose is a consumer should have a proper access to the market to make informed between the choice selected of goods and services. So in the market, if there is a monopoly, then the right extends to warranting the fair price for a goods and service. Okay, right to consumer educate talks about the education focuses on spreading the meaning of consumer awareness and having each citizen, the consumer, know about what basic right they have, and the information about the consumer right must be given to all the consumer irrespectively, and it makes sure that everything becomes to a right track. Okay, right to claim against the seller, that's a basically fundamental right provided by the Indian Constitution to its people, where the right of consumer to seek any kind of redressal in case of any kind of unfair trade practice and exploitation of the consumer. What is the basic benefits of consumerism? Consumerism actually stimulates economic growth because when the goods and services are in greater demand in society, the business must work harder to produce those items. So, this creates a never ending cycle of buying the goods, and additional employment will lead a better wage, and wages can be spent again, coming to more spending. So, this is a cyclical growth. Second, it boosts. Yeah, it boosts the creativity and innovation. Business must continue to offer a good product and services to ensure an excellent ongoing process. So, consumer always look for the next product. Means they always focus on the better. It could be better, or it could be a cheaper, or it could be huge discount, or sometimes both. Good product with best price. So this desire for something better plays a very important role, and that puts a pressure towards a company in order to continuously produce some better items, and then cycle of economic growth actually continues. Next comes with cost reduction and encouraged because of consumerism. So when a society focuses on consumerism, the goal is basically to create the best value, and then they must have an innovation that any product techniques keep manufacturing cost as low as possible. So this combination keeps the prices down, so it allows the consumer to purchase any items without being over debted in the process. So the fourth one is weed out the poor performance naturally. So this focuses consumerism focuses on a very innovative marginal scale where there is no I mean there will be no other way for the competition. If you have to make a better competition, you have to, any organization need to produce a better goods. There's no other choice. There's no other shortcut. So the consumer will have a final say as to who will stay, who will leave based on their buying preference. So now every companies, every business, they have, after consumerism, the true worth of being consumer is a king, consumer is a queen. This true words made it a clarity that yes, this queen and king will decide on who has to stay and who has to leave. Consumer encourages freelancing, entrepreneur, and self-employment. People are encouraged to take risk in society, which while encouraging the consumerism. See, for example, 99% of business in India is classified as a small business, and close to 20 million people are employed by agencies with 20 employees or fewer. This benefit is that it creates safer goods for consumer. So the standards may even be better, and that includes all the business treats with customer. So this, if two companies sell a similar item or at the same range, it is a customer service which will shy away the value position. And then the last would be the consumer give more choice in the society, because this is how the consumerism has improved in the economy. Consumer have given a lot of option which celebrities they prefer to support by purchasing the item that they choose to endorse. So this is also becoming a greater perspective. Here in this concept we also have a list of cons in consumerism, that so while we were discussing about the list of pros and cons of consumerism, the first pros of consumerism talks towards consumerism stimulates the economic growth, because consumerism is something which a right that protects the interest of the consumer. Means consumer should get all sort of protection from any kind of malpractice or illegal practice what the business actually do. So this kind of protection will make sure that the goods or services are demanded, and the business must be taken produce those items which will fetch to the standards what is mentioned, and it will create a very never-ending cycle of buying. So this purchasing pattern of consumer will become so vibrant. So the buying and selling keep on allowing the economy to grow. This is how it is happening in the recent days in India also. In retail, this is how it is happening. So the increased production level lead, what happens once the demand keeps increasing, the production also increases. This will naturally increase the production level increases. That this production level increases creates more job opportunity. So additional employment will again be created in the economy. Then better income, better wages will be there. So better wages and better income, again their purchasing power will be better. So higher the wages, the more they spend. So this becomes like a cyclical growth. So I earn, I spend, I earn, I spend. So this grow, the standard of living continuously rises. So this process creates a better place, a better process for any humankind to have a good home, food, and a job security, and so forth. And second, the pros is it will boost it will boost the creativity and innovation. Business must always think of Kaizen, that is continuous improvement. So it could be on new offers, goods, or services that encourages the ongoing sales. The sales can never be stopped. So one way to provide this kind of opportunity is to invest in R&D. Why R&D is important? Because R&D forecasts the demand. R&D forecasts what consumer want. R&D understands their need and requirement, or what betterment can be done in the present system, let it be a production or an application development or whatever. So consumer are always looking for the next product which solves all the pain point, and it becomes both cheaper and purpose. So the desire for something better plays a lot of pressure in the company. So this able management will make any organization to grow better, and the cycle of economic growth to keep on continuing. The third pro is cost reduction is encouraged because of consumerism. When usually any society which has an ideality towards this consumerism, the goal is to create a best value promise possible for any customer. So the value of the companies must recognize the pain point of their strategies, targets. So they must always have this innovation with the production technique, and also keep manufacturing the cost, keeping the cost of manufacturing always low as possible. So this combination price will keep the will this combination will make the price to be less, and then it surely allows the consumer to purchase more item without overly debted in the process. It also weed out the poor performance naturally. So what happens if there is a better competition? If there is more and more of competition, the other way, what happens? The better the it will stay. The worst will have to move out. So this will increase a lot of competition, and this competition will make things more better. That every organization focuses to give the better for the employees. I mean, sorry, for the customers. So what will happen? Naturally, a betterment of lifestyle will improve and also competitively priced.
So this consumer will have the final say that whoever gets to stay, so the verdict is given by the consumer. Who wants to stay, they can stay. Who wants to leave, they have to leave the business. So the it is based on the preference of the customer, and the companies decides whether to stay or leave. Next thing is consumer actually encourages the freelancing entrepreneurism and self-employment. The people are encouraged to take risk in the society, which encourages consumerism. So we'll be finding freelance working on their own, securing contracts to work from home. And in this type of society compared to others, entrepreneurs will always have this concept called as lean and mean. Organizing this is actually a big thing because opportunity employment opportunity is an option, but individual always proved high quality service at a price which is lower than the average competitor. So if we consider this freelancing or entrepreneurism or self employment, there are more realistic way. The real economic growth, where the actual growth occurs, 99.9% of all the business in US example we take, it is actually small businesses and so forth. The next topic would be on the content is it creates a safer and a goods for consumer. So because consumerism basically it protect the interest of consumer by giving them the quality assured quality, proper safety of usage and proper recognition with branding. So what happens? These elements drive the society that purchase become very familiar with the rights and responsibility. So they seek protection for any faulty, because if anything goes wrong, consumer is well aware that where they should go and what has to be done. So any faulty product or any inadequate goods, any company is not going up to the right standards. If those standards are not met, easily the purchaser can follow the process of the whole, and the court system, that is the legal offense, will be enforced to the companies, and the standards will, and more of the standardized organization will make sure that the standard is evenly met by all the organizations. So for example, if two companies selling the similar product, the customer service, this way the value proposition. So what value proposition, what in addition a company is giving them. So this kind of safe environment will be available to the customers. And what is consumer? Consumer are given more choice in the society. See, for example, there are, since there are so many standardization is making more entrepreneurship built is there. This process makes a lot of products available in the market in all the category. So what happened? The customer are getting a lot of choices to pick whichever the best they want. It could be because of celebrity endorsement, customer decide to use the product, or because of their personal usage, or because of the perception of personality trait which will influence the purchasing power of the purchasing behavioral power, or it could be a price, economic view, or cognitive view, or passive view, and so forth. The next is about the cons of consumerism. There are not many cons as to mention, but there are few. What it says is the economic takes the precedence over the environment. Sometimes the society focuses on the consumerism. The first element which comes is degradation. So degradation comes and focuses becomes that will naturally increase the demand, and the natural resources in the area comes under pressure. For example, as I say, there are more and more and lot of production happens, a lot of employment happens. The one way, the one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is more and more production happens, more demand for raw material starts to use. For example, if you take Lakme face wash, which is made of so many natural items such as fruits, berries, etc. The product made it a remarkable change in the cosmetic industry, which demanded a lot of raw materials. So raw material was under pressure. So people have to produce a lot of either it is a fruits or vegetables or any kind of raw material. It could be steel, rubber, etc. So what happened? These materials like raw materials, water, food, they all become scarcity. And because of the best price possible, also it will increase the short cuts happen. What happens? Suddenly, Suddenly, if, for example, strawberry is in a huge demand, it could be eatable product or it could be on cosmetic. Now, suddenly, if the increased demand for strawberry increases, naturally, harmful chemicals are used in order to produce it because of the betterment of price. So now what happened? Indirectly, again, this consumerism is hacked because the consumer doesn't know. Always a consumer, for example, if I buy a product, as a consumer, I will check on the usage of it, how quality it is, etc. But the backstage story is unknown to anybody. So in that constraint, it is very very difficult to find out what kind of issue is this product has created in the or created or disturbed in the ecosystem. uh, the second one is it changes the more fabric of the society. See, basically, what happens is consumerism focuses on the personal ability to secure the best possible goods or services, but there's no ethics involved in any kind of transaction. The lowest price when solving most of the pain point where you're always considered as the best. Most of the families experience the shift in the moral fabric too. They feel that the need of the purchase are not required because shopping is becoming an addiction. So this purchase to occur facilitate this equality in the society where everyone has to access the same product and the service to everybody else. Next comes consumerism encourages the debt. What happens most of the time people have started to purchase n number of goods. It is taking addiction. Purchasing is becoming like an addiction. In this phase of addiction, the spending is becoming more vibrant. So credit card issuing of credit card and these days, if, for example, take Amazon Pay balance. So they are very much facilitating the customer to use it and make a purchase. So now what is happening? uh, it is actually encouraging consumer to buy a lot, and in turn it is making them to fall in debt. So they are spending, like for example, the recent days you can take a Pink Friday sale, Black Friday sale, and even we can talk about this Amazon sale is going on, winter sale. So many sales are more tricky, and it is making customer to get so excited and they start spending a lot. Then this leads to health problem. One thing is this debt will never go away. So the higher level of stress is always to follow any customer. So constantly a person into a health stress, what happens? Sometimes depression or insomnia, kind of health issue will come, and this will focus the hard worker to spend more on this materialistic love. Already, as I said, Indians are very much materialistic. This materialistic and materialism will make sure that these things are very much at a very cost at a cost of health, and borrowing time, borrow the items, will borrow money to buy the same, and there are certainly less time for relationship, hobbies, and time to yourself. We hardly find it. We were free, we start shopping it. Amazon is on the click. Retailing is on the click. So this is making anybody go sick. Then consumer does not provide fulfillment. Uh, the research said that since because materialism is a major focus on consumerism, if by the time one starts to earn say some dollar money or rupee money, by the time they get the salary, everything is get dispersed because of credit card. Everybody, the minute your salary is credited, the same minute it is done. So what happens? They're not having any fulfillment. So because it was not like that. Usually olden days we used to budget our family. Our mothers used to do that, budget the family, run accordingly. There was a saving pattern, there was a pattern of food. The hotel, restaurant food or a resort was always a luxury. Hardly, it was not happening all the time. Now it's because of these excitements in Swiggy and Zomato. What is happening is you're not getting that fulfillment, and moreover money being overspent. So this can be used in a political problem, political tool. What happens is, you just taking a case of US, the economy is growing at a speed of 37%. Families having almost spending at of 30%. Almost, I'm talking in 1960. But unemployment was also dropped down. Means it was actually going good. So now what happened is, uh, the still even after making sure that everything goes on well, still people believe that because of overspending, uh, political economical disturbance are there. The highest rate of poverty is seen in most of the countries with having a great depression. So these stuff will have to be taken into consideration. And then consumerism conflict with various spiritual beliefs. What happens once one god says that, other god says another something. So this always influence on the interest of the buying. See, I've given the Jesus told the richer young ruler that he had to go to enter heaven was given away from the he had. Islamic law prohibits earning interest or paying it. Buddhism says looks at hard work and steady effort as a path towards prosperity. So each religion in Judaism says something. So these each religion have a different aspect, and some families who follow the spiritual practice, they have something living in consumerist land. So this what happens sometimes this conflict with consumerism. Next is the poor are always left behind the consumerism. If you don't have money to purchase buy, the purchase what whatever we have to meditate in the hand. So this is negative stigma, means the consumerist society involving people who ask for help even you're meeting some caste aside, no fault on yourself, just don't purchase, do not participate, don't cut off the fabric of the society, and until and unless you find it difficult to actually break it out. So the poor is always poor is always not able to spend, and they're not able to engage as a part of a society in terms of consumerism.